Look closely. How many times have you sat across the table from a founder, presentation deck in hand, and felt the weight of that glossy slideshow crushing everything real beneath it? Think about it. The pitch deck, that neat little prison of bullet points, charts, and rehearsed phrases, becomes a cage not just for the entrepreneur's story, but for your ability to sense the fire, the raw pulse of what's possible. And you know it deep down. Most decks are crafted not to show real vision, but to tick boxes, to sound safe, to convince you that what's being offered fits inside your neat checklist. That's the problem. The deck stops the truth from breathing. It hides the chaos, the passion, the guts that make an idea worth your time and your capital. You're not here to play that old game again. You didn't become an angel investor to shuffle papers and nod politely at rehearsed slides. You became one to fuel revolutions in disguise, to light fires in dark rooms, to back the wild, the unpolished, the disruptive souls who'll shatter the dull reality of today. But how often do those entrepreneurs arrive with their stories boxed and wrapped, safe enough to be palatable but bland enough to miss that spark you're hunting for? How often does the deck become a filter that screens out the daring and tees up the comfortable? Here's the brutal truth. If you rely on decks to choose your bets, you're missing the rebellion, the edge, the heartbeat of transformation. Because real innovation doesn't come neatly packed in slides. It comes raw, messy, unapologetic. It's in the sweat-drenched words a founder spills when they're not looking to impress you, but to ignite your imagination. It's in the glint in their eye when they talk about a future your spreadsheet can't foresee. So how do you unlock that human truth? How do you win over angel investors without the shield of a deck, without the illusion of rehearsed confidence? You tune yourself in. Listen to the story beyond the script. The tension, the hesitation, the flashes of brilliance hidden under awkward words. Because those moments reveal the fire refusing to be smothered, the individual who's ready to burn rather than bend. Imagine this, sitting with a founder whose voice trembles, whose vision spills like a storm, not fitting into neat bullet points but alive, unpredictable, dangerous. You lean in, not for slides, but for soul. And in that chaos, you see everything the deck tries to hide. Raw grit, relentless resolve, the defiant pulse of someone ready to shatter norms, who isn't here to follow, but to break rules. That's the magic you're hunting for. This is no sales pitch. It's a battle cry. An unfiltered declaration that says, I am not here to conform. I am here to change everything. Here's the promise. You don't need a deck to see that. You do need courage, the courage to cut through the noise, the polished phrases, the rehearsed smiles, and to smell what's real. That's the superpower of the sharp angel investor. To feel when the system tries to fool you with format, but can't mask the fire underneath. To reject the comfortable pattern and look for what's raw and wild. Now, beyond just spotting the fire, how do you empower founders who step to you without decks to win you over? How do you build conversations that strip away the usual illusions and reach the core? Start by questioning differently. Swap. Tell me about your team for, how are you the only person who could do this? Replace. Give me your market size with, what's the one truth no one sees but you, and how does it change everything? This flips the power dynamic from a checklist to a dialogue, from presentation to revelation. It cracks open the cage that decks build and lets the real voice breathe. Invite vulnerability, not rehearsed confidence. Push for stories, not stats. Demand messiness, not perfection, because it's in the cracks that light gets in, where true innovation hides. Teach founders that every silence between their words is a chance for connection, every awkward pause an opportunity to turn the conversation from sale to soul. You're not just investing money, you're investing in souls ready to run through walls. So stop waiting for the deck to reveal the right slides. Train yourself to read between the lines, to hear what's not being said, to feel the weight of the unsaid passion before it finds words. This is a skill, sharpen it like a blade. It's the difference between funding the next big thing and funding the next empty promise. But remember this, just as investors must unlearn the deck's spell, founders must unlearn their need to cage their story in bullet points. Encourage them to risk discomfort, to embrace the pause, to unleash the forbidden question in their pitch. What scares you most about this idea I'm backing? It's a question that breaks the script and ignites authenticity. And authenticity is the rarest currency in a world drowned in polished mediocrity. You're not here to play safe. You're here to back the few who will set the world on fire by refusing to fit into safe boxes. Your edge comes not from metrics, but from passion, from pain, from the refusal to settle. When a founder risks raw honesty instead of rehearsed confidence, that's when you know you're holding something real. Imagine a world where decks fade because investors look for the burn in someone's eye, not the gloss of their slides. Imagine investing in the rare, the raw, the unvarnished visionaries who don't just want your money, but your wildest belief. A world where you don't fund a pitch, you fund a person who's done bending, done waiting, done being anything but exceptional. That's not just a radical idea, that's your mission. To be the spark that sets that fire free. To see the founder who's tired of the cage and ready to fly. To choose courage over comfort, not just from them, but within yourself. You are part of a movement that rejects the recipe for failure dressed as success. This is your call to unlearn what you've been taught alongside each entrepreneur you meet. To tear apart the deck, look behind the curtain, and demand the truth that only lives beyond slides. Because the world needs more than slides. It needs the souls willing to burn bright and burn long. No deck can hold that wildfire. No chart can map what courage creates. It's in the unscripted moments, the pauses, the raw words poured straight from a person running wild towards something bigger than themselves. That's where the real power lives. That's where you choose to invest. So next time someone shows up without a deck, don't shy away, lean in, let the fire speak louder than the fonts. Help unleash the fierce individual behind the idea, because only by freeing that wild heart can you break free yourself. In that freedom, greatness will find you. Real greatness. The kind that won't settle, the kind that won't be boxed. The kind that changes everything. And you, angel investor, are the key. Not because of what's printed on a slide, but because of what you choose to see beyond it. Don't settle for less. Don't bow to mediocrity. Seek the raw soul that burns so bright it blinds the world with possibility. That's the power waiting to be unleashed when you say yes to what no deck could ever contain. If you hunger for more, keep pushing. Because the moment you start investing in the real, you don't just fund a startup, you ignite a revolution. And that revolution, it's already knocking on the door, waiting for the few who dare to answer without a deck.